Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining me live in this live stream today, where I will be talking about how you can prevent the shin pain or shin splints. And if you have any questions during the live stream, do let me know in the comment box below, where I can answer your question as soon as possible, or maybe after the live stream in the chat box. My name is Ishan Arora. I'm a physical therapist from PriMovers, which is an online pain and performance platform. And I have been helping people with aches and pains and injuries for more than 12 years now. In today's live stream, as I said, we will be talking about how you can prevent the shin pain or shin splints. But before we get started with the shin pain or shin splints, let's first understand what exactly the shin pain is. Shin pain is a typical pain that is usually happens in athletes who has been spending a lot of time on their feet and in the impact sport like running, playing soccer or tennis or going for like a badminton or where you spend a lot of time on your feet. There are good chances that you can develop shin pain. So what are the typical presentation of shin pain? We will be going for that, and how you can prevent the shin pain by doing some measures on a regular basis. You can really prevent the shin pain to happen for the long run. So what exactly the shin pain is? The medical term for the shin pain is called the medial tibial stress syndrome. What exactly I mean by that is there is a stress on the inner side of your leg bone, especially the big bone that you see in the leg area, the shin bone. On the inner side of it, usually you get the pain and swelling in the lower portion of the leg bone. And you have some symptoms which I'll be discussing with you just now. And so that's how the presentation is, and that's what exactly the shin pain is. So shin pain is usually a pain in the inner side of your leg bone, usually seen in athletes who spend a lot of time on their feet, especially like runners, dancers, playing football, like football players, badminton players, and all. The shin pain is also known as the shin splints. And again, as I said, it's a pain along the inner side of your leg bone or the shin bone, which is called the tibia medically. It is usually seen in athletes who are engaged in a high impact sport like running, dancers, tennis players, footballers. So we tend to see the medial tibial stress syndrome, which is also called the shin pain, in these athletes more commonly. But again, it can happen to any athlete, any person as well. And there are some reasons for it. There are some risk factors which basically results in the pain in other population as well. So we need to understand how do we develop the shin pain. And it's not like you're not an athlete and you can also get the shin pain even if you're not an athlete. So it's very, very important to understand what are the risk factors, because once you start working on the risk factors, there are good chances that you can avoid the shin pain to happen on the long run. Again, as I said, it's more commonly seen in athletes who spend a lot of time with a high impact sport. But again, especially in athletes who have recently intensified the sport or may have changed their training schedule or the program. So maybe you were doing some program, maybe you just started running. So you just started running. So again, the amount of impact that you start getting in the leg bone could be quite a lot. Or maybe you were running a particular distance and all of a sudden you intensified or you increased the distance or maybe the frequency of running. So these are the typical risk factors which invite and cause the shin pain to happen. So again, as I said, typically it's seen in people who have intensified the sport or maybe have changed the training program. Earlier, they were training at a certain level. Now they are training at a high intensity level, and which results in the shin pain and shin splints. All right. Please let me know in the comment box below if you have any questions. All right, just 1 second. Okay, to visualize this better, let me take you through the skeleton system where you can see the leg bone, where exactly the pain starts and where exactly the problem happens in the case of shin pain. So as you can see here, this is the portion of the leg. So we have the skeleton system, the leg bone. So this is called the tibia, which is the leg bone, the main thigh. So the main bigger or thicker leg bone that you can say. And we have this other thinner bone called the fibula. And we have a connective tissue right in between these two bones, which is connecting these two bones together. So typically in the case of shin pain or shin splints, we tend to see the pain symptoms developing in the inner side of the leg area, leg bone here. And we tend to see some swelling and inflammation building up in the lower part of the leg area. And if you are an athlete who spend a lot of time in the high intensity activities, such as like if you have been sprinting on a regular basis, and if you have increased your intensity or frequency of it, there are good chances that you can start developing the pain around this place. So again, very, very important for you to understand how you need to slow down, what exactly you need to be doing in terms of the treatment to get rid of this pain faster and for long term. Very important. So again, as I said, this is the area where you get the pain in the shin pain and the shin bone right here in the inner part. But you can also have the pain in the front or the slightly outer portion of this. Just So we can also feel the pain in the muscles around these area. So this is the muscle area where exactly you can also feel the heaviness building up. You can also feel the tightness in your calf muscle, and you can feel the tightness in the inner side leg muscles called the peroneal tibialis posterior. Sorry. So this muscle is called the tibialis posterior. This is calf muscle, and we have the tibialis anterior. So typically, again, if you have a stress increased on these muscles are connected to your tibia, which is the leg bone, through the connective tissue. So anytime there is an increased load on these muscles because of increased load of your training or increasing the intensity of your training, there are good chances that you can start developing the pain in the shin area and the shin pain and the shin bone. And again, as I said, like it starts with the pain in the inner side of the leg bone, and starts with the inflammation as well. Slowly and gradually, the pain can be so intense and so debilitating that it may make it really tough for you to walk and move around. And if you continue doing your activity, the stress on the bone can increase to the point that it can start causing the stress reaction and can result to the fracture in the bone. So this particular bone can go into fracture if you start neglecting this area and you're not really emphasizing on reducing the load or taking a break from your sport or activity, which is resulting in the pain like shin pain. I hope this is clear. Again, just in case if you have any doubts, do let me know in the comment box below so that I can answer your questions for you. All right. Just one second. This does not seems to be working. All right. So here we are again. So let's see what are the symptoms that you feel in case of the shin bone or shin splints. You start feeling the tenderness along the inner side of the leg bone, which is the tibia, and you start feeling the soreness around that area. So anytime you would touch and prod around that area, you would feel the tenderness, the sensation of pain around the inner side of the leg bone. You would also feel the pain on the inner side of the leg bone, as I said, along with the swelling, especially seen in the lower part of the leg bone. Uh, so these are the typical symptoms. You see the tenderness, you see the soreness, and you see the swelling and pain on the inner side of the leg bone. And again, the intensity of the pain can be quite a lot, and it can go to the point that you start developing the pain in the entire compartment of the leg. So very, very important that you see the symptoms, you recognize the symptoms, and you start to slow down the activity which is resulting in the pain and the symptoms of irritation around this area. At first, the pain usually reduce when you stop doing the activity. So when you reduce the activity, there are good chances that you'll start feeling the pain is going down. But slowly and gradually, if you don't stop, or maybe you resume to the activities again, there are good chances that the pain may come back, and the intensity of the pain can go to the point that it can cause the stress fracture. So very important that you slow down and look for the symptoms and reduce the training load or the duration, which could be the causative factor for the shin pain. So what really causes the shin pain? Let's understand that. So there are a number of factors which results in the shin pain. But one of the most causative factor for the shin pain, as I said, is the repetitive stress on the bone through the muscle. So finally, when you're working on the muscle, so when you're increasing the load, right? When you're increasing the training load, when you're increasing the intensity of your activity or the sport, you're increasing the load over the bone, over the muscles, over the connective tissue. But first, the muscles are working more. And as soon as the muscles are taking a lot more load, they can start pulling the site of attachment over the bone. And the muscles are in the leg area are attached to the bone through the help of connective tissue. So eventually, you're increasing the load in the connective tissue, which is effectively pulling the site of attachment over the bone and causing the dysfunction, and also resulting in the pain, inflammation, tenderness, and all the symptoms that I just mentioned. So what are the risk factors that you need to keep in mind, and how you need to slow down, when you need to slow down? It's very, very important for you to see that. The risk factors for the shin pain are, if you are a runner, there are good chances that you can develop the shin pain. And if you have any symptoms or the inner side of the pain in the leg area, make sure that you start slowing down. And the things that I'm going to share with you in few minutes, make sure that you listen to your body that way, and you start working on the things that I give you as an advice today. So if you are a runner, there are good chances that you can develop the shin pain. And especially if you are a runner who just started running, or you are in the beginning phase of your running, uh, you can feel the shin pain. The reason for that is, again, the body was not used to the amount of stress you were putting earlier. Now, slowly, instead of, sometimes when we start running, we don't realize the amount of impact or the load that comes to the area. And so again, as I said, if the intensity or the stress on the bone is quite a lot, because of just because you just started running, there are good chances that you can develop the shin pain. The second risk factor for the shin pain is, as and when you increase the intensity of your training. So for example, you used to run, for example, 5 kilometers, all of a sudden you started going for 7 kilometers or 10 kilometers. Again, you have increased the duration and the intensity of your running. There are good chances that that can develop the shin pain. So anytime you increase the intensity, your frequency is number of times you are doing a particular activity which is causing more stress on the area of the leg, which is the shin pain area. So anytime you're increasing the load, anytime you're increasing the frequency, the number of times you're doing the activity which is increasing the load perpetually on the area, you can develop the shin pain. Or if you increase in the intensity itself. So for example, you used to play for certain duration, and all of a sudden you increase the duration as well, and you change some activities or some movements. For example, if you play tennis, which is increasing the load on that area, there are good chances that you can develop the shin pain. The other thing that can also result in the shin pain is, for example, if you're just a walker and you just walk, so you're not running right now, but if your stride length, which is the distance between your feet, is too much, again, that also increases the load on the shin bone, and again can result in the shin pain. So make sure that, again, if you're walking or if you're running, make sure that you're not having the too long of a stride, and because if you have too long of a stride, that increases the load on the leg bone, and eventually the pain can be more in that area. Again, another thing is, if you're going if you are a runner and you go uphill, downhill running, that also increases the load on the shin bone and can result in the shin pain. The reason for that is, usually when we go down, the stride length increases, that increases the load over the bone, and the muscle work also increases quite a lot. This is one of the reasons when you are going for uphill or downhill running, there are good chances that you're increasing the load and eventually causing more pain in the shin area. So very, very important to look for this risk factors and start working on it. The other risk factors, again, as I mentioned, you're working on the uneven terrains or hills, or like if you're training on the hard surfaces, such as like you're training on the hard surface, like concrete, you anyway have a lot more load versus if you do the same activity on the surface, which is the clay surface or the mud surface or the grass. So grass, clay has lesser impact because they are the comparatively lesser friction areas. And if you are doing the activity on the high friction areas, such as like the hard surface as concrete, again, the load can be increased quite a lot in the areas, and especially in the leg bone, and eventually can cause the shin pain. The other risk factors for the shin pain is if you have a biomechanical fault in any way. For example, if you have will not say biomechanical fault. So most of the population, or I would say 70 to 80% of the population either has a flat, not the flat foot, has a dropping arches, which is called the overpronating feet, where the feet moves inside quite a lot when the body weight comes onto it, or when you do any activity which involves taking more body weight on the feet. Your feet going inside, this is called the overpronation. Or if you have a flat foot, or if you have a high arches, in all the cases there is an increased load in the leg, because just to compensate for all this mechanical fault at the level of foot, the pressure that goes on the muscles in the lower body is quite a lot, which eventually increases the load over the bone as well, and again can result in the pain such as the shin pain. So very, very important that you start again, if you have a flat foot, or if you have a overpronating foot, or if you have a high arch, we start working on it to correct that, to reduce or minimize the load that is coming to the leg area and the shin bone especially. All right. Now, what are the symptoms? As I said, what are the symptoms? Sorry, this is not the symptoms. So, what are the things that you need to be doing to prevent the shin pain? So, again, how can you prevent the shin pain? So, let's understand uh, all the parameters which could be resulting in the shin pain. And once you start working on all the things, it becomes so much easier for you to prevent the shin pain. But for that, you need to get some assessment done by a physical therapist or a doctor who can examine you well and let you know what are the areas which are resulting in the shin pain. But again, as I said, if you're doing an activity, or if you have increased the activity in terms of frequency, duration, or something, what exactly you need to be doing in that area to minimize the load that is coming to the leg area, and especially the tibia, which is resulting in the shin pain. So the first and the foremost thing that you need to keep in mind is you can get yourself analyzed by a physical therapist or a doctor who would examine you for the movement dysfunction or movement issues that you have. For example, if you are a runner, your doctor and your physical therapist can visualize your running pattern, or can see you running on the treadmill, to do the gait analysis, because a little bit correction in the gait analysis can reduce the load which is coming to the shin and causing the shin pain. Secondly, again, if you're running or if you're walking involves, as I said, like overpronating feet, where the feet goes inside quite a lot, the corrective insoles can be put to reduce the load and to bring the arches back into the normal position, which will eventually reduce the load on the muscle and will result in decreased stress on the bone, and eventually less pain in case of the shin bone and shin pain. So very important, if you're a runner, if you are just walking, you can get yourself thoroughly examined by a physical therapist or doctor who would let you know for the movement issues that are happening, which is overpronation, high arches, or a flat foot, which could be the reason of shin pain in your case. Very, very important. Secondly, if you are someone who has been overdoing the work, so if you are for example, if you're running quite a lot, or if you are walking quite a lot, or if you're doing any activity which involves this, which involves having your feet on the floor, or like a running, playing soccer, or dancing, any of the activities, if you're doing, try to reduce that a little bit, and slowly and gradually you can increase it based on how you feel in terms of improvement in the symptoms. But at the moment, if you are someone who has been feeling quite a lot of discomfort, or the pain, or the leg or the shin pain, make sure that you try to reduce the activity or minimize the activity, or maybe stop the activity for a few days and slowly and gradually build up based on uh, how you feel in terms of improvement in the symptoms. But you need to be doing again the you need to take certain measures which will help you correct the imbalance or reduce the load on the areas which were causing the pain in the shin. So especially for example, uh, again if again as I said, like it's because of the overload, and your leg muscles, especially the calf muscles, your front leg slightly in the front called the tibialis anterior muscle on the inner side of the leg. These are the muscles you need to start reducing the load at. You also need to start reducing the load on the bigger chunk of muscle in the thighs. That could be really, really tight for you and could be resulting in the shin pain, because they are too tight. The overall load that is building up on those muscles and is quite a lot. And secondly, they are not helping you offload the pressure which is coming from the feet higher up. So again, if your muscles are tight in the hip area and also around the thigh area, that can also result in the overall load that is going to the shin bone and eventually can cause the shin pain. So very important, once you start working on this, once you start working on the treatment part, it's very important. Like that's where the examination by a physical therapist and doctor comes into play. They will let you know what exactly is the reason for the pain, and they can start working on it. And based on your symptoms, once they start working on it, you can start feeling the improvement. And once you do all the corrective measures in terms of fixing the flexibility of the muscles around that area, or improving the joint motion in the lower body, or improving the strength of the muscles, these are the typical things that you need to be start working on to improve the symptoms. Very, very important. The third thing that you should be looking for is choose the right shoes for you. For example, as I said, if you are someone who has a flat foot, or like you have a dropping arches, make sure that you select the right shoe. Very, very important. And if you are a runner, make sure that usually there is a wear of pattern in the shoes that you should be looking for. So approximately after 5 to 600 to 800 kilometers, you should be changing your shoes. So if you are a frequent runner, make sure that you look into this factor. This is very, very important. So after 600 to 800 kilometers, you should get yourself examined for the shoe as well. And if you have any wear of pattern, which could also be the reason for your shin pain, make sure that you start working on it. And yeah, we can change that. And in general, again, if there is a wear of pattern in the shoe, or if you're wearing the wrong shoe, there can be pain in the shin area, because again, the load which goes to the leg or the thigh and the other areas and the lower body is quite a lot. So make sure that you start working on it and fix that to feel better for the shin pain as well. Secondly, like again, consider putting the arch support. So if you are someone again who has a flat foot or the dropping arches, you need to go to the podiatrist or maybe a foot specialist who can examine you, or maybe again your physical therapist or a doctor who would examine you for the imbalance. And based on that, they can recommend you for the arch support, which is just to correct the arch in the foot. So we have arches, the inner and outer arches. Depending on if you are overpronator or a flat foot, you will need the medial arch, or if you are a underpronator, which is like a high arch, you would need the lateral support. So again, based on what is required in your case, so your physical therapist or a doctor or a podiatrist would guide you best what exactly you need to be doing to get rid of to correct the imbalance and also reduce the load in the shin area. The other thing that you can consider is you can consider wearing the shock absorbing insoles. So you get the silicone insoles with or without arches, based on your condition. So you can consider wearing them, and this will help you reduce the load overall. For example, if you spend time on running, there will be reduced load with the shock absorbing insoles, versus if you just are wearing a normal shoe and does not have too much of cushioning, can increase the load of the bone and can result in the shin pain. Very important. The other thing that you should consider to prevent the shin pain is reduce the impact which is coming to the bone overall. So what I mean by that is you need to reduce the overall frequency intensity, and duration of the activity which is resulting in the shin pain. So for example, if your walking is causing the shin pain, so make sure that you reduce the activity, or maybe based on your symptom, if you have quite a bit of pain right now, you stop for a few days, you work on the things like correcting all the imbalances, improve your mobility of the lower body, of the joints, improve the flexibility of the muscles, of all the lower body muscles which could be causing the most stress, improve the stability around the areas which are weak, improve the strength and endurance. So once you start working on all these components, and along with that, you lessen the load, you decrease the frequency of the activity which is causing the pain, you decrease the frequency, duration, and the intensity. That will help you a lot in reducing the load or the pain overall. So make sure that you start working on it. And again, so this is going to help you with the shin pain or shin splints. Again, if you have any questions related to shin pain or any pain in general, you can always put that in the comment box below. But again, specifically today we are talking about shin pain, so put that in the comment box below if you have any questions. The last thing that is very, very important, but not the least, again, as I said, what I usually recommend is you need to be working in the phases. So you need to see what all areas are causing the mechanical imbalance in the body, in terms of whether you are less mobile, more stiff. So when you're more stiff, again, irrespective of, for example, if even if you don't play anything, they can be more load on the shin bone or shin pain, shin area. So if you're too stiff, make sure that you start working on it, improve the mobility of all the bones, all the joints, which is resulting in a restricted movement and eventually causing more heavy muscles in the lower body and causing the pain. The second thing that you should be working on is work on improving the flexibility of all the tight muscles. So again, once you go to your doctor or physical therapist, they let you know what all areas are weak, the tighter areas for you. Start working on improving the flexibility of those muscles. The third thing that you should be doing is improve the stability. So if certain area is unstable for you, so those areas will not be stable, and again, they will not be able to take care of the load that comes overall in the lower body. So make sure that if you have any unstable area, you work on that. The fourth component is build up the endurance in the muscles, which is like do a lot more repetitions without increasing the load on the muscle, and then eventually build the strength of this muscle. If you work in all the five components what I'm sharing with you right now, again, the overall load on the muscle, the overall imbalance that you have in the lower body will be minimized, which will eventually help you take care of the shin pain for the long run. But if you are just working on the strength, for example, what I mentioned here, that you add the strengthening routine in your program. For example, if you are someone who is very tight, or no one has examined you, and like again, as I mentioned, you just add the strength training to the workout, that'll help you a bit, but may not help you with the long term solution. Because again, we were lacking the examination, we could through which we could have told you, okay, now you need to be working on the other components of fitness as well in the lower body. So make sure that you work on all the components what I just mentioned, all the five areas, and which where the strengthening is the last phase, but again, very, very important. So you start improving the mobility, your flexibility, your stability, followed by your endurance of the muscles, and last, the strength and the power. If you work on all these components along with reducing the frequency, intensity, and the basically overall load that is coming to the shin area, there are good chances that you will not only minimize the pain, but you will fix the pain for long run. And again, if you are a runner or if you walk longer distance, make sure that you keep little stride length short. So distance between your feet should not be too much, and you can start working on reducing the load that way as well. And apart from that, you can do a lot of other things, as I said, like you can improve the flexibility of the muscle and the overall load on the muscles. You can start working on releasing the muscles which are tight for you, especially in the case of shin bone. The calf muscles would be really, really tight, so it'll have a lot of knots or tender spots, which could be building up the tension in the muscle and eventually on the shin bone. So make sure that you can use the tools like foam roller to help ease the stress which is coming to the shin bone and especially the calf muscle. Once you reduce the load of the calf muscle and stretch your calf muscle on a regular basis, you reduce the muscle, you reduce the overall load on the shin bone, and eventually the pain goes down. You can start working on the muscle which I called the tibialis anterior. I'll show you again. So you can again, as I said, like you can start working on these muscles, so you can improve the length of your calf muscle, start reducing the load on the muscle using the tools like foam roller. You can use a tennis ball to release the calf muscle. You can release the inner side leg muscle, which is very, very, very important in case of shin pain, because this is one of the muscle very close to the area where the pain comes in the shin pain, in the shin bone area. So again, this is one of the muscle which results in having the foot going inside. Okay, sorry. So it basically takes your foot like this. So it causes the inversion of the foot, which is it takes your foot like this. It moves like this. Okay, so that's why again, if you keep having more inversion movement, which is the foot going inside, because this muscle can also increase the load on the shin area on the inner side and eventually more pain around this area. But again, and this is the front slightly on the outer side called the tibialis anterior muscle. It's not just in the shin pain, it's not just we're talking about the pain on the inner side that is there on the bone. What really happens in the shin pain is the overall compartment pressure in the leg is quite a lot. So all these compartments, this is the back compartment, this is the inner compartment, the front compartment, all these muscles are so heavy, so intense that they are all together putting a lot of pressure on the shin area. And eventually the pressure is so much that we start developing the swelling around the shin area, around this place. And also because the pressure on this bone, you can start building up the knots around this area. This is not purely the bone, like a knots in the bone or something. It's basically that denotes the amount of stress that is there on the muscle adjacent to the area of pain. So very, very important that we start working on it. That again, to get rid of the pain on these muscles, again, the things that we can do is we can start releasing the muscles. It can be through the help of manual massage by like a massage therapist, or like you use the tools like a foam roller, tennis ball to help really ease the tension on this muscle with the help of massage. And the second thing is you improve the flexibility of all the muscles mentioned here. The third thing, again, improving the stability. The fourth thing is improve the endurance of the muscles around this area, especially work on the muscles higher up. So if you work on the muscles in the lower body and the core area, and especially so all the core muscles, if you work on the strength in the front thigh muscle, reducing the load on the front hip muscles around this area, improving the strength of the front thigh muscles, and also improving the strength of the glute muscles. So once you start improving the load on, not the load, but improving the strength of these areas, so there are good chances that you're fixing the pain for the long run, because these muscles are very strong and they can take a good amount of load, which comes to the lower body. But if they're not strong, they are not really helping you in taking care of the load. So whatever load that you have in the muscle because of the tension building up in the leg muscles, or the stress that you have over the bone because of the intensity of your activity, these muscles are not really helping you overcome the stress. So very, very important, if you want to fix the shin pain for the long run, you start working on improving the strength of these muscles, especially the glute muscles, the front thigh muscles called the quadriceps, and the core muscles, like start working on the deep core muscles. This will really offload the pressure that you have on the leg bone and eventually help you take care of the shin pain for the long run. Very, very important. All right. Just once. So I'm going to be sharing with you what's next. So is basically, again, if you have any questions related to shin pain, shin bone pain, or any pain in general in the lower body, you can let me know in the comment box below so that I can answer your questions as soon as possible in the comment. Also, again, if I'm not able to answer your question, I will be going live again next week, Thursday. And I can answer your question in the next live stream, or I can answer your question in the comment box below as soon as the live is over. So whatever questions you have for me, do let me know in the comment box below so that I can answer your questions. All right. So, okay, so what you can do next here from here is on our website, we have some free resources for you that you can always go and download at your convenience. And all you have to do is you can go to this link, which is www.primovers.com/free hyphen resources forward slash. So this is the link or for you to download our free resources from our website. And again, if something particularly that you're looking for, do let us know in the comment box below. Also, you can go to our website to check our membership area. This is the place where we have like many people joining the membership, where we provide the customized exercise program through our exercise app. And these programs are specifically designed to help you take care of the pain which is holding you back to perform the activity that you love doing the most. So again, if you are someone who's having the knee pain, so again, once you get in the membership, you get 2 programs per month, along with our knowledge area, where we provide like a video resources to guide you and educate you, uh, so that this will help you fix the pain for the long run. Unless you are educated well about your body and the pain, there are good chances that your pain will come back. So we highly emphasize in teaching you and educating you. So we have a special area, which is the members area, which is like it's like a place where you have tons of videos and resources, um, to learn more about your body and imbalances, and start fixing your pains for the long run. And through this knowledge area, you can educate others also to take the right action and do the right things, which can help you achieve the healthy, pain-free lifestyle. Again, if you have any questions that I haven't covered in this live stream regarding shin pain, or if you have any questions for me in general, do let me know in the comment box below. Thank you so much for showing up for the live stream. And if you have any questions, do let me know in the comment box below. And thank you for your time, and see you next time.